Here we are. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles once again to review an album. This time it is the 1999 release from John Prine, the one he did right after he recovered from throat cancer. John Prine, In Spite of Ourselves. This is the country covers album where he teams up with various female country singers. We will be reviewing that album. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fitton, along with Mike from Hub Tunes, Richard from Calvin Wazoo, and ladies and gentlemen, the man that went to the dirty bookstore and bought a flag decal because he thought it could get him into heaven, Craig from Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
Did you read my diary?
No, I read John Prine lyrics off the debut album.
Then he found out that ain't going to work anymore.
No, it doesn't. Not since the Dirty Little War.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm first. John Prine. This album. I bet you're all surprised I have this. I went through a phase, probably about 10 years ago, where I just bought everything John Prine. I bought everything without even hearing it. I just bought it, and I bought this. And the most I've probably listened to it is this week. I listened to it when I got it, and probably just put it right on the shelf. I don't know. I'm not. So this is like you said, it's a country album. He does a lot of covers. There's one original song. I think it's the title track, and so they're all covers. He uses different women. He has different women
Scandalous.
on the record. That's John Prine. I don't like duets. I don't know what it is. I've never really liked duets. And I certainly don't like duet albums with multiple art. This is the kind of thing I really don't like. I don't know what it is. I've never really cared for duets. Like, I just pass them over. And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should listen to more.
There's a lot of great duets.
I know there is. So I pulled this out and I listened to it. First of all, I love the artwork. The artwork on here is just, I love the photographs. Are beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
What's the gatefold look like? I've never taken, because I kept those hype stickers, so I've never. Oh, okay. I've never seen the inside.
Yeah, and then the inside's just.
I almost took it out, but I like the hype sticker.
Yeah. So that being said, I think his voice is absolutely fantastic on this. This is I love his later life voice. And this is where he really shines. I think his voice is perfect on here. I'm not going to go through every song. There were a couple songs I just really didn't like. I love the stuff he did with Lucinda Williams. I think there's two songs, Wedding Bells, or is there just one?
It's just one.
Yeah, and then I know the one with.
No, he does two with her.
Yeah, I thought there was two also, but I don't see it.
No.
But anyway, I love that song. I love Lucinda Williams too. The Trisha Yearwood song he did, When Two Worlds Collide, I kind of like that too. That was a pretty good song. It's an old time. It's got a great sound to it. It sounds really good on vinyl. We were talking. This comes from the CD era. I think the vinyl sounds really nice. It's very crisp. It's got a good vibe to it. It is what it is. It's a country covers record, but it feels like it comes from a time, and the time is not 99 this came out. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to keep this record because I am trying to thin out my records. It may not go back on the shelf, but I dig John Prine. He was so cool, and like I said, his voice is absolutely perfect on this. It's that growly late career voice. I just dig. But if I want to listen to John Prine, I'm never going to pull this record out. There's probably 4 or 5 records before I even think about them. So yeah, maybe it's just not my thing, I guess. I get it. It's it's a beautiful record. It sounds great. The songwriting is, some really beautiful songs, but it's just not me. So I'm gonna give it 3 rainbows.
Who decided Mike goes first on this?
All the John Prine fans that are tuning in for the first time.
This is
Then who's next?
you, dude.
Oh, me.
You.
There is only one Lucinda Williams. It's Iris DeMent that he does 2 or 3 with.
Yeah.
There's
and
like 4 with her.
So, but yeah, I got this record as a gift because it was somebody who, liked John Prine, particularly his early material. And he picked this up and he didn't care for it at all. So he said, "You want this?" I said, "Sure, I'll take John Prine." And I gave it a listen. And I won't say that I disliked it. It just, maybe it was I wasn't in the mood or anything like that for it. But I have, I've listened to it more than perhaps you have, Mike. This is the record that I have grown to appreciate and I have grown to really like. It's not necessarily my favorite John Prine. I mean, that debut, I don't know how, you
can't
match anything, with that. And then a lot of the live releases that he that came out are really good as well. But I do like this record. And I like a lot of the duets that are on here. In fact, my favorite ones, the last song on side A, Backstreet Affair, has, kind of a little bit of a bluegrass lilt to it. It's Patty Loveless. She's really, really good on that one. And then moving into side 2, I think side 2 is much stronger than side 1. The songs on side 1 are really good. I mean, We're Not the Jet Set is a nice opener because it has that kind of little bit of silliness that John Prine can, inject into songs. Although, like you were saying, these are covers. There's only one song that John wrote. But he, I think the songs that they picked for this record were good choices because they really worked well with him. There were a couple of the duets, like the one with Emmylou Harris, I Know One. I just wish there was more Emmylou on that.
Yeah.
She's kind of like not even there. I mean, she's like a backing vocalist rather than, participating in a full duet. But yeah, the opening on side 2, Loose Talk, is one of my favorites. And then Let's Invite Them Over. I just love that song. It's about this husband or this couple that they may not be that into each other, but they're both really into their friends and they want to invite them over for, maybe it's a little husband-wife swapping going on here in that song. I like it. It's a hilarious song. Then yeah, the other songs on there, but my favorite one I think is the title song, In Spite of Ourselves, which is the only John Prine composition on there, and it's with Iris DeMent, and it's from a film which now I have to go watch. I didn't know it was a film, and it's a Billy Bob Thornton film, isn't it?
Isn't it in Juno?
You're not?
The song? No, there's a song called Daddy and Them. That's where the song was written for that film, Daddy and Them. And to me, it is a quintessential John Prine song. I mean, it's just John Prine all the way. And it's a cute song. I really do like it. I love, We Must Have Been Out of Our Minds too, because Melba Montgomery, she wrote the song and she also sings. And she's got, I think she was the one who had, she's got kind of a raspy, smoky voice that also really, I think, paired well in that song with Prine's. There's one song at the end that is not a duet. That Dear John, I Sent Your Saddle Home. So that's the only song that doesn't have any accompaniment. And it has kind of that old-timey Western, Western, like Bob Wills or something like that. Kind of a sentiment to it. There's another song, too, that has a very, I'm sure I wrote it down. Backstreet Affair was it's a cheating situation. I love Dolores Keane's voice in that. And that one has a very Southwest cowboy music, but Mexican influence as well. It really reminded me of the country music that I would hear when I was living in Arizona and New Mexico. But yeah, with re-listening, I hadn't listened to this in a long time, but I really do like this. I like it even more with each listen. But like I say, it's not going to stand up against the debut, or even, I mean, I've got several live releases that are just absolutely amazing to me. But I'm still going to give it 4 rainbows.
Yeah, I think I might be maybe Craig, but judging from what you're both have said, I think I'm one of the only ones that knew a lot of these songs before I heard the John Prine version. So this took me right back to I haven't heard some of these songs in so long. My dad's type of music, the country music from the 50s or whatever. And I can tell you the artist that did all of these. I mean, I don't think there is a single song on here, with the exception, of course, of the original John Prine song, that I don't know.
And there was a Roger Miller song on there that really blew me away.
Yeah, the Roger Miller is which one was that? The When Two Worlds Collide, which reminded me of the Kenny Rogers and Dottie West song When Two Fools Collide. It's got almost the same melody, and it's the same theme basically. But I just think that this reminds me of when we reviewed Dolly Parton's The Grass is Blue, because this is a really great song selection. And John Prine, they don't sound like they're trying too hard. They don't sound out of their element. It's not like Post Malone is doing these songs with Beyonce and we're going to do a publicity stunt, come out with a country album. These sound so clean and clear, and there's none of that. I would hate to hear what this would sound like if it was produced in like 2015. Because then they would have all that processing that they keep putting on everything later on. Thankfully, this is from 1999. The vocals are so clear. It doesn't sound like they have any. Whenever they have an old person singing, like Dolly Parton Rockstar is a perfect example. They put this processing on and make sure everybody sound like this. Everybody sounds like a real people.
It sounds like your creeper that likes Tanya.
Yeah.
Everything sounds like this.
Well,
it's all mid-range.
Yes, that's true.
It's like that. Willie Nelson's latest album is the exact same way. And they've started doing it with rock people, too, that are getting older. But a lot of the country women on here are older. They remind me of this show that was on RFD TV, which was Willie Nelson's cable channel, where it showed all the old country shows, but it also had a few currently produced shows. And one of them, all of these old country stars would get together and just talk and sing songs. And this album kind of reminded me of that. You have people on here like Connie Smith, who doesn't sound like Connie Smith sounded in the 60s. She sounds like an old woman because she is an old woman, but it's so, and Melba Montgomery is the same way. It's so charming. It's so real. It's so like not a bunch of bullshit processing put on it. It's so completely unfiltered. I just love the way these women sound on here, with the exception of whoever this Iris Dement woman is.
Really?
4 songs. Wow. That's about 4 too many. She sounds like she's trying. I get it. She's from Arkansas and she's performed with Steve Earle and she's however old, but she just sounds like she's way overdoing it. She sounds like she's trying to do a Mammy Yokum thing, or I don't know.
I didn't know who she was. I've never heard of her.
I hadn't either, but But yeah, they do the Everly Brothers. So sad to watch. Good Love Go Bad. They do 2 Hank Williams songs. Dear John is the Hank Williams song. So is Wedding Bells. It's a Cheatin' Situation is actually a 70s song, but it feels like an older song. But that's actually Mo Bandy and Janie Fricke. And I grew up with that. And I've always loved that song. Loose Talk is a Carl Smith song. It's my favorite Carl Smith song. It's the reason I bought the Carl Smith Best Of CD back in the 90s at the Ernest Tubb record store when we went to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee to go to Dollywood. I bought a Carl Smith CD, and that is the reason I bought it, because of the song Loose Talk. But I know one. I think Jack Clement wrote that, but it's Willie Nelson is the one that did it. And like three or four George Jones songs on here. He actually did duets before Tammy Wynette came along. He would do duets with Melba Montgomery. That's what she's mostly known for. And so she does her own duet that she had originally with George Jones, now is doing it with John Prine. The whole thing just works. The whole thing just works. It sounds great. It's perfect. The perfect song choice, perfect guy to do it. And then we get to the original song. This is bizarre. John Prine is an amazing songwriter. That debut album, incredible songwriting. I enjoy his songwriting even more than his singing. Those lyrics, wow, which makes it odd that the original song on here is my least favorite. I don't like that. I don't like, hey, ponies. Oh, she sure can fuck like a bunny. I don't. It's like a big fuck you to the rest of the album. I don't like that. It's way too crass. It's way. It doesn't seem like it belongs on this album. And I get it. That's John Prine's sense of humor. I have like 10 John Prine albums. I know who he is. I know what his sense of humor is. I know he likes to get crass and dirty every once in a while. But the rest of this album is just so sentimental and so charming and so sweet. And then that comes on. He's got them big brass balls.
I think that's like, what the movie that this was written
stop,
for
woman. Just get the fuck off this record. And We're Not the Jet Set is terrible too. I've never liked that song, even though it mentions Festus, Missouri, which is like a 45 minutes away from here. But I've never liked. That's a George Jones and Tammy Wynette song. It's I don't really like a lot of their songs, but I really don't like that one. It seems like it's too corny. Like, we're not the jet set, we're Chevrolet set. The rest, it's like the first track and the second to last track. If you took those off, you'd have a 5 rainbow album right here. This would be comparable to The Grass is Blue. But since it has those 2 songs, I'll give it 4 rainbows. I do not dig this Iris DeMent woman at all.
I love her.
I think charming is a perfect word for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe it.
Well, a couple reasons that I chose it. I hadn't listened to it in a really long time, so I kind of wanted to listen to it. And he actually did 2. The other one's called For Better or Worse that came out in 2016, which has more Iris DeMent on it.
Of course.
But it's got Casey Musgraves, Miranda Lambert, a lot of the newer artists. But it's good too. I have that.
So stick with this one is what you're saying.
This one
yeah.
This is the better of the 2, but there's stuff that I really like off of the second one. But as a whole, this one is better. I like Iris DeMent. So this is his 13th album, and like Robert said, his first after his throat cancer surgery stuff. I love that there's, I guess, not really newer. I guess they're all kind of older because, well, Trisha Yearwood was still kind of maybe young at that time. I don't know, 1999.
Well, you've got people from the original time like Melba Montgomery, but you also have Patty Loveless. She's from like the 90s. Emmylou Harris is mostly from the late 70s and 80s. So it spans a...
Yeah.
But I feel like he picked the right people. Again, I like Iris DeMent. I love In Spite of Ourselves. We're going to be sitting on a rainbow. Honey, you're the big door prize. I just love You're the Big Door Prize, honey. That's just very sweet to me. Melba Montgomery. So probably my favorite next to In Spite of Ourselves is in a Town This Size. With Dolores. I was going to mention Melba, and I'm off kilter here. Dolores Keane. I love her. I don't really know much about her, but she was in a folk band or something, I guess, back in the 60s or something like that. But, because when I hear a town this size, that is exactly where I grew up. That every single thing that they talk about, that is exactly. You're smoking a cigarette, you're doing this, you're doing this. So it just really reminds me of that shithole town I grew up in, but in a good way, I guess. What was I gonna? Oh, and till a tear becomes a rose. It's very sweet. That's with his wife. So with Fiona. So I think that's really sweet too. What was I going to mention? Yeah, Melba Montgomery. She's the no charge lady. No charge. No charge. I wouldn't have known that had we not done a video where we talked about no charge.
And I listened to that song again because I hadn't heard it for years and years and years. It's not her daughter, it's her son in the song that says, I mowed the grass. That'll be $5. I got an AMR report card, $2.
No
I never put the Melba Montgomery that does that with the Melba Montgomery that does things with George Jones. I mean, obviously they got the same name. I just never put those together. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the only thing she did. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's George Jones and Melba. Oh. So, yeah. I was wondering if anybody would catch that.
Well, and he does 3 songs with Melba. Well, of course I would catch it. I do enjoy, the one that he did. I really like this So Sad to Watch Good Love Go Bad with Connie Smith. I really like the way they do that song. It just sounds, and I'm a big Everly Brothers fan. So you guys kind of said everything. So I really don't have a lot to say other than I just kind of wanted to hear it again. And I was curious to see what you guys would think. Actually, I thought Robert would hate it. So I'm kind of surprised. I don't know.
I thought you'd love it.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought you would hate it.
Well, I generally don't like cover albums and I don't like cover songs, but these are more standard. It's almost like covering a blues song, covering country songs that's old.
Right.
But it did definitely it made me want to hear, especially It's a Cheating Situation, since that's more from the 70s and I grew up with that song. I definitely had to hear that, the version I was familiar with, Mo Bandy and Janie Fricke. When there's no love at home.
I don't think I've ever heard the original of that.
Oh, wow, really?
Most of these I've had, but yeah.
It's a cheating situation. You should hear the original of that. Dear John's kind of, let's see, you should hear the original of that. Let's Invite Them Over, you should hear the original of, just because it's so old and so, like you said, scandalous at the same time. It's like, what? And then you've already heard the Everly Brothers one. The rest of these, though, I mean, they just do such great versions. I mean, they're very similar. Like the Loose Talk is very similar to the original, the Carl Smith one.
Well, it's 4 rainbows for me. So what? That's 15.
Yeah.
Not bad, John Prine.
So the guy who kept it from being 16 is going to tell us what album we're hearing next.
Oh yeah. We're going to do this.
Great.
What the hell is that?
Genesis album from what year?
Are you serious? 1983.
83? Yeah.
Wait, is that a Phil Collins one?
Oh, yeah, what does he do? What is this about?
I know.
This is what I'm picking.
This is the record I am picking.
Okay, what is it called?
Just called Genesis.
It's self-titled, yeah.
But it's not
1983.
It's not Trespass.
It's my favorite Genesis album.
It is.
It's the one with That's All is the really big song. It's got other songs on it too. It has a Problematic song on it.
Yes, it does have a Problematic song.
And that had a video.
Song was very big. Yeah.
Problematic song.
Okay.
I haven't heard. This will be
interesting.
In 25 years.
I haven't heard.
One I bought in 93 when it came out.
I think I
haven't
heard it
heard
about
that
2
record.
months ago whenever we did 83. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a really good, this is my favorite Genesis album. Not to give anything away.
I haven't heard this album in 51 years.
But you've heard That's All. I'm sure you've heard the song.
I've heard That's All. That's all I've heard. I'm looking at the track listing. That is the only song I know on here.
Isn't there another kind of bigger hit on there?
There's some called Mama that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's a medium size.
No, Taking It All Too Hard was
Taking It All Too Hard. Yeah, you've probably heard that.
Maybe if I heard it, but
that's a great song too.
Yeah, I don't like That's All.
I saw him on the store.
So, all right. So
Okay.
Genesis. Good job, Mikey, with the Genesis pick.
So we'll be reviewing the Genesis self-titled album from 1983 coming up. We'll also be reviewing songs of a year that I don't remember what year it was. And we will play our game again coming up.
2013.
2013. Who could forget that year?
It's a great year.
That year is coming up with our tops and bottoms. We'll also play our game again and much, much more. Please, won't you be a part of it? We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fitton, along with
Richard at Calvin Wazoo.
Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
And Mike at Hub Tunes.
Hopefully, we'll talk to you again later.
I sure hope so.